Yes, YouTube. It's your brother in Christ, Tom, back with another video. Now, today's topic is gonna be very interesting and it's gonna be very deep. I'll try to make it brief because I know there are other videos out there that address this, but I just want to make basically a steak and potatoes video right now. And it's going to deal with astronomy and astrology. Now, a lot of people, including myself, back in the day, believe that they're the same thing because they deal with the planets, but they are not. Even though they deal with the planets in subject matter, the problem is it's how it's used. And psychics will tell you this too, the same thing. Because I know of this, a friend of mine who used to be a psychic, he can verify everything for you. And so, astronomy and astrology. Now, on surface, they both look the same, but I'm going to show you now how they are very, very different. Now, let's take astronomy. See, astronomy is the study of the planets. Basically, Mars in relation to the Earth, in relation to the Sun and the Moon and everything. How, Venus, how everything, the rotation of each planet, how long the winters are, how long the summers are, how fast the rotation is in relation to each other. That's the whole gist of astronomy. How the orbits work, how fast it takes to orbit. Saturn, the rings, Jupiter, what have you. It's all in relation to one another. The distance between planets, how long one takes to rotate around the other, how long is one winter or one summer, or the atmosphere compared to each planet. That's astronomy. See, now astrology is when you use the planets to guide your life. You see, in astronomy, you don't use it to guide your life. You just say, okay, the Earth is here, Mars is here, the Moon is here. Let's see the relationship to each other. What do they do? How long does this take to rotate? How long does that take to rotate? How long is the rotation? How long is the spin? How long is the summer? You're just looking at their relationship, how they interact with each other, or how basically their function is. Astrology says you take this planet, this planet, this planet, and they must all be aligned. Then you can look for the love of your life, or you're going to find fortune. You see the difference? You see, in Romans 1, where it says people worship the creation, not the creator, or the creature, not the creator. You see, what we're doing is we're using the creation, the creature, to guide our life, rather than letting God guide our life. Because I was a huge into astrology back in the day, and I used to collect everything that had to do with it, especially my horoscope sign, until I realized it was not godly. Because I'm letting the creation judge who I should fall in love with. Like you've heard the whole thing about the planets must be aligned, and there's maybe a 2 or 3 day not gateway, or however they say it, that say a Taurus can fall in love with a Gemini, or an Aries, or a Sagittarius, or whatever the sign was. So you can only, when these planets are aligned, you can only look for love in these 3 or 4 signs. That's satanic, because God chooses who you're going to be with. You cannot choose yourself. That's why the divorce rate in in North America is so high. I think the statistic is 1 in every 2 couples will get divorced within about a year or 2. And there's even a term called the starter marriage. I didn't hear about it till about last year. And so this tells us that we do not choose our spouse. God chooses our spouse. But you see how Satan does it? He wants you to fulfill your desires by using what God put out, but what he does is that he uses says, here, follow this. Don't follow God, follow this. And many psychics, use astrology. I used to work with psychics back in the day. I wasn't actually doing the readings. I was just handing out the flyers. So I know this firsthand. And let me tell you something about astrology. When I used to work for the psychics, it was for one summer, this is the thing. The majority of the clientele, about 98.5%, 99% of the clientele that went into to get their psychic, horoscope, whatever was done, they're between the ages of, let's say, just graduating high school to about mid-40s. And this clientele were women. And the number one reason why they went in to see the psychic, and I asked them as they were going in or leaving, whenever I got a chance to speak with them, looking for a relationship. Now that is very telling, because that's exactly what astrology usually or mainly focuses on. See, you can also use it for wealth or, whatever you wish, to use astrology for. You could do it, on the satanic side, but mainly it's for a relationship. That's why women, when they go see psychics, they do this whole astrology, the horoscope, is to bring fortune, wealth, prosperity, whatever word you want to throw on it, but the majority is a relationship. And that's where Satan laughs at those who use astrology, because you're using the creation, not the creator, to pick your spouse. So I hope this addresses the major sticking point, because for me, when I first heard about it, I was saying, well, what are you talking about? Because I was fooled as well. I thought they were the same thing. But when you look at it, sorry about that. when you look at it, astronomy is just the study of the planets. Nothing else is involved on your behalf. It's not, you're not ruled by it, or they don't rule you. You're just saying, okay, this planet does this planet does this. At the same time, when this planet does this, that planet does that. So you just record it. That's all you're doing. You're not saying, okay, this planet did this planet did that. Okay, now I have to do this, or I have to follow this. No, you're just studying what's going on and you're just writing it down. That's astronomy. Astrology is when you put your life in the purpose of those planets. You see the whole separation there? Now, I hope I've enlightened somebody on this issue. I hope someone is looking at it and says, I never thought about that. Or if they have thought about it and they're just, they're looking for the motivation to stop, I hope this is the video that does that. Because for me, when I first found out about this, I threw all my stuff away. I'm not going to tell you what sign I am, because I think the best sign is stop with astrology. Stop. That's the sign I'm under now. Stop. And so basically astrology is of the devil, and do not be using, because I know women want to find the love of their life, their soulmate. You're not going to do so in astrology, because that's the devil's playground. Ask God humbly. If you're not a child of God, if you're not born again, ladies and gentlemen, please seek God, and He will choose your husband or wife. Astrology is not the answer. Okay, astrology is of the devil. Astronomy is of God, because it just shows we are very curious creatures. We're very curious creation. So that's why we're going to study astronomy. We're going to study everything around us. That's just in our nature. But when we use it to guide our life, that's where we slip up. And I just hope that, hopefully I've made someone think out there, or at least critically, about what I'm saying. If you don't agree, that's perfectly fine. But at least now you have another avenue to explore. And that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. That it is a very, and a lot of people also do get numerology, numerics confused, which I'll do in another video. I'll address that, and I just hope that I've scratched the surface on this for you. And if you're into astrology or you have horoscope signs everywhere, please get rid of them. Those are of the devil. You're letting the creation rule you instead of God having command over your life. So you're not going to find love in the planets. You're going to find love with God. It starts there. So God bless everyone. I hope this has been an informative video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.